Okay, this is another reaction video. This is from Passport 2. Please click like, share, and subscribe for them, as well as for me right down there. I would appreciate it. 7 huge mistakes all Americans in Germany make. Well, I'm assuming he's made all of them, so maybe I'll assume, I don't know. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. But let's see this. 7 huge mistakes all Americans in Germany make.
999! Don't ever do these things in Germany.
999, like 9 in American, and it's a number, but I know it means no in German, so.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are 2 Americans currently living in Germany with our baby, sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. After a few years of travel being put on pause, we've noticed a huge increase in Americans traveling to Europe, and places that we go to are flooded with tourists once again. With this going on, I started noticing some tendencies tourists, and specifically I am talking about American tourists, have been bringing with them that I thought I might make some suggestions to not do as a fellow American who used to make the same mistakes in this country.
Yeah, I thought he would. These are 7 mistakes probably that he's made before that you don't make and experience. You live there. Now people understand in Germany that if you make these mistakes, it is what it is. You make the mistake and then you move on. But yeah, I'm kind of curious what these mistakes are.
Country, but learned after
I'm wondering if I made some of these mistakes.
Living in Germany for 4 years, doing these things should be avoided. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in my video. Maybe not verboten, but rules that are unspoken. One of the don'ts I want to talk about is surprisingly tricky and complicated, and I have seen many tourists in Germany struggling to figure out what to do with their trash, specifically with plastic bottles. We've seen
I've seen their house where they have all these different places where you put your trash and things like that. In the United States, it's very simple. You put your trash in trash, you put your recyclables in a recyclable. It's that simple. It's just one or the other. It looks like it's different in Germany.
Our family gets so excited that they finally figure out a way to throw away the plastic trash in our home amongst our 4 different trash cans, only to then be confused when we tell them the plastic bottle they have thrown away actually goes in a separate pile to be taken back to the grocery store, even though it is plastic and the trash can is labeled plastic, because they paid a deposit on that bottle when they bought it without knowing they did. We then also have to teach them it's not just plastic bottles, and some glass bottles also go back to the same place as the plastic bottles, even though at home we have to separate the plastic and glass. Then to make it more confusing, for those visiting Germany, they get used to bottles going back to the store, but then we have to teach them that not all bottles go back to the store for a deposit, and some...
Yeah, I mean, look at all that nonsense. You got to put, just make it simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be so difficult. It really shouldn't be that difficult.
Like wine bottles have to go to a separate glass collection point in our town. So here is the don't. Don't throw away bottles in Germany that have this logo on it. I know. You should receive a PhD if you figure out the German trash system, but if you know to look for this logo, then you'll be golden. In Germany, when you buy a drink with this logo on it, you also paid a deposit on the bottle that you receive back when you return it to...
What if you don't care if you receive the what if it's not like you paid $500 and $502 and you're getting $500 back. Okay, that's one thing I can understand. But how much you getting back? What, 8? How much you really getting back that you want to go through all that nonsense? It's silly.
To the store. Granted, you might say, look, I'm a tourist and I don't want to be bothered with the 25 cents or whatever
Yeah, exactly what I just said.
deposit I'll get back if I carry this bottle around with me to return it. So I'll just go ahead and recycle it. And I get that. But also, you can do the German thing, which is to either give it to a homeless person or put it next to a public trash can so that someone in need can collect it and return it so that they can at least benefit from the small deposit. Otherwise, if you don't do this, you are literally just throwing money away.
Yeah, but that's that's one of those things that who cares? I mean, we're not talking about astronaut. We're not talking about a house payment here. We're talking about 23, like 23 euro, whatever it is. Silly.
Real quick, I want to thank all of our patrons and YouTube channel members. I really appreciate all of the support in helping me bring you this content. And if there are some of you looking for other ways to support this work, simply hitting the like and subscribe button really goes a long way, and I would appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, I would appreciate you doing that for me as well, but as well as for him. I'm a subscriber for Passport 2, and I would be happy if you all became subscribers of me as well.
Generally speaking, we all have stereotypes of different places, countries, or people groups. And I'm not just talking about negative stereotypes. I'm also talking about positive stereotypes, or even, I guess, neutral stereotypes. And this has to do exactly with one of my don'ts, and that is, don't come to Germany to reinforce your stereotypes or ideas about Germany.
That was one thing that I didn't do when I went there, okay? I mean, that was one thing which, look, when I showed up in Germany, okay, yes, I know the history of Germany. I know the history of World War II of Germany. I knew all that, okay? But I came there with an open mind, and I'm glad that I did. Because when I came there, the people were friendly. They were very personable. They were very nice. It was exactly what you would expect from somebody. Granted, it was during the World Cup, so they knew a bunch of people were going to be there from other countries. But it was absolutely wonderful to meet new people and see and meet them and have good times with them. It was fantastic.
Whether positive or negative. Of course, this really isn't specific to Germany, and I can apply this to any place, and this is something I still am personally working on myself, to be honest. What I often find myself doing, and I see tourists in Germany do, is coming in with ideas of what Germany is like, and without trying to simply experience and see what Germany truly is like, they look for ways to reinforce or prove their ideas whether they know they're doing it or not. For example, say someone had the stereotype that all Germans have purple hair. They come to Germany, look for a person with purple hair, and say, "Welp, I saw Germans with purple hair. They really do have purple hair." But then ignore the millions of others without purple hair. By the way, do any of you actually have purple hair? Or maybe they believe that Germans are extremely efficient and always punctual. Take one train ride, and that train happens to actually be on time this one time, and they say, "See, Germans are punctual and efficient." But they don't look into it anymore and find that this definitely isn't.
Look, the Germans were punctual and efficient. Okay, that was one thing that I did not know about Germans, and now I hear that maybe they're not so punctual and efficient. But I thought that they were, and when I was there, I thought the trains were fantastic the way they ran on time. And it was wonderful. It was nice to experience that.
The case, at least when it comes to the German trains. But like many European countries, this is particularly important not to do in Germany because so many people have one image of Germany in their mind, and as we've talked about in so many videos on our channel, Germany has hundreds if not thousands of different cultures within this single country, and not all are the lederhosen wearing, beer drinking, and white sausage eating cultures. So you can't come to Germany, go to Bavaria, see someone fitting that description, and reinforce your idea that is what Germany is when you.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that you think about. You think about the Germans having their own, way, who they are and all that stuff. You forget that they are a bunch of different cultures. They're not too dissimilar to the United States. Maybe not so much the United States where we have, a melting pot, but still different things for different people in Germany.
I haven't been to North Germany to see someone wearing this traditional clothing. So like I said, this is surprisingly a lot more difficult than I wish it was, and I am actively having to make sure I'm not just looking for ways to reinforce stereotypes that I even have after making a career of digging into and learning about Germany and German culture, but it is important to at least attempt to do this. Following the previous don't, my next don't is definitely don't come to Germany expecting train travel to be perfect and cheap.
I'll tell you, my brother got us, basically purchased the train pass for us. So I don't really the only time I really experienced the train in Germany or purchasing the train was when I went from Frankfurt Airport to Frankfurt, and from the hotel to the airport. My brother had purchased a Eurorail pass from Germany, so I didn't really get to experience any of that. But look, it was interesting. The train pass, if I remember correctly, they weren't too expensive, if I remember correctly.
As I mentioned in the last section, there definitely is an idea that train travel in Germany is extremely efficient and especially cheap. And although compared to the US, Germany definitely is significantly better in this arena, there still are some challenges tourists don't expect when they come here. In November last year, I talked about how Germans don't fit into American stereotypes of Germans and talked about the punctuality of German trains. Deutsche Bahn updates on their website monthly that shows the punctuality of their trains, in which they define a train being on time if the scheduled arrival time was exceeded by less than 6 or 16 minutes. The lowest point of train punctuality in Germany at that time was in August, when only 56.8% of DB long-distance trains arrived on time based on the 5-minute delay allowance, and only 76.8% of trains arrived on time based on the 15-minute delay allowance. We've had plenty of stories where family would come so excited to travel on the trains, only to get abandoned at a train station when they had to transfer trains and we had to rush to pick them up because they missed it. Or we've had families see that they can take a 2-hour ICE train to Paris from our house, get so excited to do it, but then went to book it, and because they thought all train travel was cheap, were shocked to see that it would cost them over €100 one way per person to get there. Now, Germany does have a Deutschland ticket, which is a €49 subscription ticket for regional trains and public transport, which does make it more affordable, but also slower. And again, almost anything is better than trying to travel in the US by any form of public transport. But just don't come to Germany and assume everything will be cheap and on time regarding train travel. Instead, build and back up, give yourself as much time as you can to reach your destination in case something does go wrong. And we personally have developed a rule that if there are over 2 changes of trains, to assume something will go wrong on that journey.
We didn't have any of the problems that he's talking about. Again, maybe it was during the World Cup and they had everything there, they had their act together, but we didn't really have any of those problems. But it is good information to know.
One thing that everybody always talks about is how much more walkable Germany generally is than anywhere in the US. But what often gets forgotten from what I have noticed is just how much more bikeable Germany generally is than.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. There's a lot of places you can bike in the United States. That's pretty good. But yeah, it was pretty walkable. There was a lot of. Look, when we were in Frankfurt, walked to the Main River, walked to the square, walked to the train station. Everything was pretty. It was in a reasonable distance. And same when we went to, like I said, we went to Berlin, which was very walkable. So was Cologne. So was Kaiserslautern, for that matter.
In the US as well. And because of this, you need to be very aware that when you come to Germany, you don't walk in the bike lanes. For sure.
Well, I think that I don't know who would do that. I don't know if anybody does that in the United States, for that matter.
I come from in Oklahoma. We have very, very minimal amounts of bike lanes. But also, we don't really.
Yeah, they have bike lanes. I know up in Seattle. I know I've seen them there, but nobody really walks in them. But yeah, I guess it's something to think about.
Walk anywhere, so that even there are bike lanes, we don't have to look out for walking in them. So when we first came to Germany, we would be walking on the sidewalk only to then hear the behind us or a very loud
Hallo, hallo!
telling us to get out of the way because where we were walking was the bike lane that shares the sidewalk with the pedestrians. In our defense, because of where we are from, we just didn't even know where to look out for it, but we learned even more so once we started biking more around here, just how annoying it is when you're trying to ride through a town and constantly hitting your brakes for people that aren't paying attention to the bike lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand that, but I mean, is it? I mean, because like in the United States, the bike lanes are not on the sidewalks. Okay, like in Seattle, they're right to the side of the road. So you're not, people walk on the sidewalks. They don't ride their bikes on the sidewalks. It makes it simpler that way.
So, to ensure you don't get run over or hear a loud
Hallo!
behind you, what do you need to look out for? Well, look for signs that look like this, or look for painted bike lanes on the ground like this, or often the bike lane.
Yeah, that's what it looks like in the United States. That's what it looks like in Seattle. You have it right by the side, so it's you're not walking on the bike lane. I don't know why anybody would walk along that, but that's it's something that I wouldn't do.
Are different colors from the rest of the sidewalk or road, like red.
Okay, now that is a pain in the ass right there. Okay, you're walking along and look, just put it on the road. Okay, just make it easier on everybody. Just make it on the road.
Red, green, blue, etc. Now, when something isn't walkable, bikeable, or you've decided the German trains aren't cheap enough or reliable enough, you might want to drive while you're in Germany. Well, let me tell you from experience, Germans are excellent drivers, and they do not like it when drivers aren't following the rules of the German road to a T. So, don't come to Germany and drive without having a fairly good knowledge of German traffic rules.
Yeah, that's something I think would make sense. If I'm going to go to, in the United States, you drive, there's just certain things that like in Los Angeles, the Diamond Lane. If you see the Diamond Lane, you have to have two people in the car at all times, or else you're doing it wrong. But yeah, I would think that if you're coming to Germany, make sure you know the traffic laws. That's very important.
Of course, you're a tourist and you legally are allowed to drive temporarily in Germany with your American driver's license, so you're not going to take a German driving class like most Germans would prefer you do before renting a car and driving in German streets, but you will definitely cause some problems or at least a lot of road rage if you don't know how to properly drive in a roundabout or sitting in the left lane.
Oh, roundabouts, those are things that we have in the United States. That are not very well. Look, a lot of people don't love roundabouts. I don't love roundabouts, but we have them.
On the Autobahn, just cruising slowly, or turn right on red lights like you do in the US. And especially since it seems to be everybody's dream to experience no speed limits on the Autobahn, I would highly recommend you be familiar with the road rules and drive very carefully for a few days until you are more comfortable and familiar with how things work before attempting to set a new ground speed record and possibly endangering others on the road.
That would make perfect sense to do that. Okay, look. Find out how things work on the Autobahn. In the United States, you can turn right on a red light. I guess you can't do that in Germany. It's best to understand. And look, the greatest gift God ever gave man is YouTube. I guarantee you can find how to drive in Germany on YouTube.
One of the biggest questions we get asked is, can you get away with just speaking English in Germany?
Now, we did, and we could, but there were little things like, Danke, Nine, things like that you can say. Makes life a little bit easier.
The answer to that is also my next don'ts, and that is, don't come to Germany and speak English. But also, don't come to Germany and not speak English. Make sense? So first, although English is
No, it really doesn't make sense.
widely spoken in Germany, and specifically in the places where tourists will be, a high percentage of Germans will likely speak excellent English. It is still quite rude to come to a foreign country and not at least attempt to speak some.
Yeah, like I said, I would say Danke, Vita, and Nine, or things like that, or little things like that, just to make myself, so that people would not get upset about me. I didn't want to, upset people and make them speak. Now there was a couple in front of me. I've talked about this before. Were like, do you speak? I mean, come on, people. You're in Germany. Don't expect everybody to speak German. I mean English. Sorry.
Of their language. Even if that German you speak is simply asking, "Sprechen Sie English?" you are showing the other person that you respect that you are in their country. Nobody expects you to be fluent in German as a tourist, but I once saw on a blog not attempting to say a few words to a local in their local language.
And I think that's everywhere. I mean, I think in France, if you in Paris, if you say merci, and just make an attempt to speak their language, it goes a long way.
Which as a tourist is like showing up to a friend's house and not wiping mud off your shoes before stepping inside their home. But on the flip side, and like I said, nobody expects you to be fluent in the language of every country you travel to, so don't come to Germany and not speak English. When we first moved here, I didn't speak any German, and I was a bad offender of this because I would feel guilty that I was speaking English to Germans in Germany, so I would often not speak to people so they wouldn't be forced to speak English. Another example, I had a friend tell me a story I related to so much when he described how his mother, who went in a restaurant, wanted something like ketchup, for example, over here. Rather than just saying, "Could I have some ketchup, please?" she would do a strange contortion thing as like, "Ketchup?" As if she was both apologizing for speaking English, trying to not overwhelm.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I thought I told this story too. When I went to a Burger King in Berlin, and I said the checkout girl went up, was like, I said 2 double cheeseburgers or double cheeseburger, whatever it was, and she was like, smiled, and then brought somebody who could speak English, and then I gave my order. I didn't like contort myself to make, because I couldn't speak the German language. I didn't know what German for a double cheeseburger was.
The non-native English speaker with too much English and asking for ketchup at the same time. As I mentioned, where tourists are going, you will find Germans who speak excellent English, so it is easier for everybody if you just speak up, and you'll get so much more out of your trip if you speak and connect with locals rather than being shy about it because you don't want to disturb them with your language. So overall, learn a few German phrases like "Sprechen Sie English?" "Danke," "Bitte," but also don't be nervous that you won't be able to communicate and speak to Germans in English in a normal, efficient manner to help them out as well. Another big question we always get from family and friends coming to Germany is, should I bring any cash or...
Yeah, I had cash on me, and I had heard that the Germans use cash, so I used cash as well. Now, I guess it's changed a bit, or you can use your card, because in the United States it's all card. But in Germany, I know it's a cash society.
How much cash should I bring with me? And my next don't is, don't just bring your credit cards to Germany. You definitely should bring some cash. Maybe you will just be traveling to Germany's large cities and you will have a higher likelihood that you will only use cards there. But Germany still is a cash is king society, and we definitely come into situations where we go to restaurants or stores that only accept cash, or if they do accept cards, they will only actually accept German debit cards. Or we also seem to come across the situation where a restaurant, for example, normally would take card, but their card machine is broken for months and months, and they
don't fix it, so they just, since everybody pays with cash, you just pay with cash. That's just how it's done.
Just take cash for a long period of time rather than immediately trying to get their machine fixed. So you definitely don't want to be stranded without being able to pay for something, and you should bring some cash in those cases. How much is definitely going to be up to your spending habits, where you will be traveling, and other obvious factors. But for a 2-week trip or more, you should probably bring a couple €100 in my personal opinion.
Yeah, you should probably bring more than probably a couple €100. And look, what I did was I took out, I think, like $300. I was there for 10 days, and about 150 dollars. I think I gave and got into euros, and then if I needed more, I could just do the exchange rate over there, and that's just how I did it.
If you have any other don'ts you think tourists in Germany should be aware of, please leave those in the comments. But to see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is: do you think it is okay to drink cappuccinos in the afternoon or just the mornings? Thanks so much for watching
I don't drink cappuccino, so I really don't care when you drink it.
this video, guys. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in our next video.
Yeah, please click like, share, and subscribe for Passport 2 as well as down there for me. I would appreciate it. But this was good. 7 huge mistakes all Americans in Germany make. Well, it is what it is. I didn't make a lot of these mistakes, thank God. But thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.